Well, I thought it would auto adjust, so that was a fail. But hey, I can't win them all. Well, thank you very much. So I'm gonna go back to the slide, and so my goal here, everybody is logged in so far, and everybody's made a project, which is huge. You guys, it's phenomenal. So I'm going to start with the basics. I'm going to take about half this meeting to go over setups and navigating it and answering kind of questions, and just kind of taking you slowly through it, tips and tricks. So here we go. I'm just going to go. So it's all screen sharing. Let me go. So you guys all got the RFP. I'm assuming you all read the information. There's a ton of information on there, right? Going through all the RFPs and what to do in Ediphi. And Ediphi is brand new this year, and I'm excited you guys are here to try and experience it. And so the main mission we're using this for is to make your estimate. It's our cost database. The cost is in there. Most of the cost is in there. You're gonna have to figure out some on your own and adjust as needed. But let's hit it. I'm gonna start at square one, backing way out. And I guess before I dive in, Trey, is anybody from Ediphi on the line want to give a quick intro?
Sure. Hey, Kyle. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can see a nice background too. I love that.
Thanks.
Is that real?
Yeah,
Is that real wood?
it is. It is real wood. Yeah. So my name's Trey with Edify. I actually lead our sales efforts here. However, I have a passion for industry feeding back to education. I am an Auburn building science grad myself. Love the technology. I've been in the industry and also in the tech space throughout my career. So just trying to connect the dots back because I believe that the tech can just help build a better bridge between people and process. So I think I've emailed some of y'all. I've helped get some folks into the system, but happy to be a resource here on the call, which is why I'm just here to help. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. I would say, Troy, if I had to sum up what you're trying to achieve, you'd want to get folks interested in pre-construction, just like me. So we need more people.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of GCs around the country, and there's an acute shortage of pre-con folks, and there's a lot of work that's out there. And so I actually did actually senior thesis that was BIM and VDC. A lot of that it was focused on like 3D modeling and things, but it's very interesting to see like in today's environment we have a lot of that, but then we also have a shortage in other areas. So it's just very interesting. But yeah, I would love to see more people come to pre-con.
Sweet. Well, if you guys have questions, like just throw them in the chat too as we're going. So one of the things like access, that's my biggest thing. People should be able to get in. This isn't, you have to be physically invited by somebody at Edify or me into the admin tab to add them one at a time. There is not a limit with folks either. So if you need some more people, just throw names on Building Connected and we'll get them added. And one of the things, so let's when you get, anyways, I'm not going to go with access. If you guys have access, please just shoot support@edify.com a note. They're graciously helping us here, but I will say, please talk to your like lead before you hit support@edify.com, because we're using them in real life and we don't want to burden them with, a lot of other tech support that you could maybe ask your lead for help as well. But if it's access, you're going to need help. So
yeah, just Kyle, this is Tommy. Just follow the communications that Kyle and we've sent out, right? We've given everybody specific directions on kind of chain of command. If you're having access issues, go to your team lead first. Your team lead is the person who should be contacting support at Edify. That way, we're not overwhelming that limited resource that we've got. Same thing with Kyle. We just want the team leads to be communicating there. So Hopefully that's enough said on that, but
Yep.
roll on.
Sweet. So all of you guys have created your projects except for, I think, 3 colleges. So awesome. Good job. One of the things I noticed with Texas, they set their project to public so everybody can see it. So I would go into your project and make it private. I'm actually in my my Gmail account. So this is what everybody sees too. So you're not going to see other school stuff that I'm sharing right now. So Cynthia, if you're listening, you just click these 3 dots on the right, hit edit. And this was the project setup screen that the leads did. Just change it to private and you're good. So that's no big deal. So, you want to bookmark this page or remember your password, abc.edify.com. Sweet. So the leads have made a project. Awesome. I would highly suggest do not only make 1 project per university. You might get confused. Do all your stuff inside your project. So the moment you go in your project, here's what the project screen looks like. And I do want to hit a few things on the left. So we're really only going to be using the estimates. I'm not even going to talk about what else is in here. Maybe we decide to use this next year and do some more cost modeling and other things, but only tabs you care about is overview and estimates. So estimates is your friend. You'll click on this, and Ediphi is a multi-user tool. This is one of the things we like about it. So you can really have everybody wants to make their own estimate, or everybody in the same file at the same time. One thing you can do is you could just simply duplicate this estimate, hit the duplicate button, and call it, Kyle test, Kyle sandbox, and duplicate it, and you can do that as many times as you want. So now I have Kyle sandbox down here. And you can also hit this little make primary button. Let me remove this just to know that, hey team, the primary estimate's our main estimate. It kind of helps keep track of, if you're in the primary, that's the main estimate. So go ahead and make as many sandboxes as you want, but go and do the real one in your primary estimate. So I'm guessing a lot of you guys watch these videos, so I'm not going to harp on all of this stuff again, because I go through all this in detail in this quick start guide that 124 of you guys have watched, along with the owner bid form. It goes into detail on how to use that. And then I get into units, and I just posted this assembly video last night too for more detailed instructions. So I'm kind of going to touch high level on some of this stuff and skip over a lot of the stuff we typically do when we're doing implementation. So definitely watch that. So I'm going to focus on more of the tips. So one tip before we leave the project screen, and I think you guys have already figured this out of how to invite people. The team leads, this was their job. They have to go to the overview button on the top left, hit these 3 dots. There's really only 2 things the team leads need to know about here. It's manage permissions. You go in there, you add your people so they can see it. That's self-explanatory. I'm not going to show that. And then, with the note that your team member, they have to log in first. The team member has to go to abc.edify.com. They got to go click that email, log in. Then at that point, they'll show up in this managed permission list. So then you can add them and search for them. So they won't be there until the person physically clicks in and logs in. And sweet. So that's access. And looking for questions too. So guys, don't be shy to throw questions in there. So with another tip I'm going to share back to my estimate sandboxes. So in your main estimate, this is how we typically do it at Hensel Phelps. We divvy out scopes. Like I'll take, let me go to the bid form. So this is the bid form posted online. We'll divvy out scopes. Hey, I got these scopes, and I'll assign estimators to them, and then we'll do that. So this is a tip on how to sort that in your estimate. So what I would do is back. So when you're hitting the overview, you click on these 3 dots. These are called sort fields. Also in the industry, they're called WBSs. It's how we sort out codes and keep our estimates organized. So I've already done this a couple times, but You're going to want to create an estimate sort field called estimator, label your teams. Well, let me just do it. So we'll do estimator 2. I'm going to call it number 3. Key, just make the key the same name. And you go hit manage sort codes, and then you start typing in all your team names, KB, Kyle, Bondi. So now you can code your estimate to these things, and you can sort it and group it by estimator. So that way when people are working, they know where they're working. Just a little tip if you're divvying out scope. So now estimate, we talked about primary estimate, main estimate. So now we're just going to go dive into the estimate. I don't see any questions yet. So now that we're in the estimate screen, this is awesome. You'll see if there was multiple people in here at the same time, you'll see more cards, and you can see that they're in there too. We haven't broke Ediphi yet. We've had a ton of people in there. If you edit the same cell, trying to break it, I don't know how they've done it, but it just works. So the first thing when you come in here, I'm going to go through the workflow, and I did go through this in my the quick start guide, but I want to go through the workflow on how I would set it up. But before I do that, just generally, like you can kind of see how it works. You can move columns around. It acts a lot like Excel, right? You can type here, change whatever you want. These grouping numbers, they don't matter. Change them. It's kind of your own spreadsheet to edit anything you'd like. So that's that. And you can also add more columns here on the right, like back to what we did with the estimator. So when I added the estimator, I thought it was estimator 2. You search for it, EST. Yeah, estimator 3. I don't remember what number it was. So now I can cross code this to this estimator 3 that I just made, and you can kind of fill down like you would in Excel, and then you can group it by estimator 3. So now it's Kyle Bondi. You can move this up, and then you kind of can be working in your own world with how these groupings work. You kind of play with these. You'll see how they work when you mess with it. So fundamentally, you're going to be in this kind of view for the majority of your editing and adding and going. Is the main thing. And you can hit this little button to collapse all view rows. And that's that. So how shall we export the final estimate, ensure it matches the bid form? Yeah, so I'm just going to answer that question right now. So this video goes over that in detail. Like you'll be like, wow, I can do this. You're like, yep, you can do this. You'll love that. So back to the workflow of setting up your estimate. So the first thing we do when we get a job is we go to the area sheet. Everybody in the company knows that, okay, what is this building? How many buildings is it? How tall is it? What's the floor to floor height? How many levels? You can see this thing's 20, I think it's 26 floors. How many levels below grade? You go measure the gross square foot, assuming you go Google how to measure gross square foot if you don't know. Put in the perimeter, put in the floor to floor height. This is a critical number to get your gross square foot right, which is oddly right on the bid form highlighted yellow, right? What's the gross square foot? Also, hint, hopefully you guys get that right. So that's with that. I do talk about gross structure in the assembly video I just posted. I'm not going to get into that right now. That's more for your concrete people. If you're going to pinpoint somebody to do concrete, it's related to this. You can also fill out your vertical transportation that shows all the elevators. So it's just a summary. This doesn't do anything magical either. This is where you can link formulas to the sheet. And that's all it does. And if we say, hey, this floor got smaller, well, your formulas that are all tied to this all automatically update. It's a great conceptual tool. And so that's what the area sheet. And you do need to assign your use groups. I go through this in the video. You got to add your use groups, name them. I think this hotel, well, let's just look at the bid form. So there's really 3 use groups: hotel, parking garage, and site. So we got to break those out, how that works. So once you get the area sheet done, then now we got to start adding line items. Well, you're going to have to go quantify the drawings. I mean, that's a big piece here to figure out all the scope that we need, right? How many levels is it? How many, what's the site? You're going to have to do that on your own, however you quantify widgets. And then put the information in here. So now that we know the quantities in this, and obviously the goal here is to make a complete scope and see where it lands compared to where we really built it. So now we want to add line items. So this is going to be the majority of what you're working with. So adding line items is, well, you hit the add line items button, and
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I'll let you keep going. Just a quick heads up. We do have 2 questions in the chat, but I think finish what you're doing here, and then when you hit a breaking spot, a good spot for a pause, we can answer those.
Sweet. Well, let me hit 4. So when you hit the add line items button, this is a great spot. This is like our kind of cost database that everybody has the same cost in here right now. Some are blank. You're going to have to figure out the blank ones and kind of fill in the holes and maybe cross check some of them, because there are maybe some tricks in there that are maybe planted for a reason. But when you come into this screen, it's similar to the last screen we just looked at. How do you want these grouped? You have some choices. So bid package is a great way to look at it. Maybe you want to look at it in master format. Maybe you want to look at it in uniformat. It depends what you're looking to do. But I'm just going to stick with bid package because that's what I'm familiar with. So you can hit collapse all rows, and you can go through each widget. What things on demo do I got to think about? Let me go add this, and maybe you have, and you could also search for it. And like really, that's you kind of want to look at the unit price. Like, what am I talking about? This one doesn't make sense. You really gotta, because there could be a lot of duplicates, different unit of measure. How did you take it off? You got to think of. There's a lot of thought that goes into picking one of these, and because the pricing is obviously important. And so with that, you can filter this thing too. You can filter it down with, if I'm just looking for bid package of like drywall, for example. So you uncheck it, it's just going to show all the drywall line items with that. So that's just another way to filter it. I'm going to add these into my estimate. I went and grabbed a few of them. Best practices, hit the review for line items, the blue button. And I typically like to drop it into use group that your leads should have set up. So you picked, where are these going? This one goes to the hotel, and then you can kind of fill down. Because and then maybe this might be a good workflow too, since like, okay, I'm going to pick the estimator that it goes to too before you drop it in your estimate, so you can find where it landed. Because you start to get a ton of line items the more you get going. So you drop these in here. Look, they're coded to Kyle Bondi. They're already coded to demolition. You can also turn on Uniformat 3, because we're asking for Uniformat as well. So it's important to understand Uniformat while you're doing this too. So that's one of the bid forms. So those are those. And now I want to check out some of these questions. Any questions? Missed the question. Tommy, anything worth hitting right now?
I think we've got
yeah,
we've got a few of them, but go ahead, Trey. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah, I jumped in there a little bit in the chat and just answered some of the questions. One was around like sandbox versus primary. Those estimates are separate. They don't feed each other, but you can duplicate lines or copy from one estimate to another if you wanted to. But think of the sandbox, to Kyle's point, as like a learning exercise for the most part. And then Kyle, there were a couple others around like does unit price only include the price of the material? And that's where you can just expand the unit cost drawer in the estimate there and show the labor, material, equipment, other, if you wanted to get that detailed. So some of those might have materials, and some like the products coming from the unit price catalog. We have products that have LMSEO, labor, material, equipment, sub, and other. We have some that are just flat unit cost, right? And so it just depends. If you want to start filling those in, you can to actually build your unit cost, or you can just use a flat unit cost.
Yep. And definitely read the docs that outline if that's required or not. But yeah, to answer it directly, this is all in. The database represents kind of the all in blood, guts, and feathers. It's a GC. I would look at it as a GC database, and probably a good way to say it.
Yeah, the unit prices can, like Trey was saying, they can be flexible. It really just depends. So you just have to pay attention to them. Don't assume that it's all consistently one way. Conversely, it's a tool you guys can use if you only want to reflect material in a line item and reflect labor in a separate line item. The system's set up to where you can mold it to whatever your requirements are, or that you need to provide for the RFP or the response.
Yep. And there's one question on RS Means. I don't think we're providing RS Means access, but you're definitely open to use their books and outline and pricing for guide. Yeah.
Yeah, go if you want to check the language in the RFP, right? I mean, you can this consistently from year to year, the databases we provide, whether it's RS Means or Ediphi, are not necessarily going to have every single cost you need. So you are going to have to go through, and there will be some instances where you're going to have to go ahead and essentially create your own line item and do your research and figure out what you think is the best appropriate price. If your school doesn't have access to RS Means, connect with Haley and the committee. And I think Haley had mentioned earlier there was some ability to connect schools that don't already have access to Means for filling in the gaps on that type of stuff.
Yep. And let's do an example. Like let's say I'm doing curtain wall, just gonna spitball something. So I'm just gonna go to our curtain wall. I can spell it. So yeah, I can see there's already a category for it. Awesome. Okay, man, what am I going to use here? I'm going to look at what it is. Okay, do I have premium triple vision? Do I need to add more stuff onto it? Right? You got to start like looking at the drawings and specs. But okay, let's say I'm happy with this one. I'm going to use this one and review line items. Drop it into my estimate. Pick a use group where it goes. Maybe pick a person, and drop it in. Cool. Well, this line item when you grab from the database, it has a ton of kind of cross-coding information with it. So just I'm going to show you that in two views. So one is the columns. So I use the columns. I love these columns. You just got to understand what are the columns that are important. Like bid package is going to be one, and then your owner bid form one that's outlined in the video number 2. That goes through the owner bid form sort codes. That's going to be another critical one because that's how you tie to the owner bid form, and which I'll hit on that a little later. But so you want to get these columns set up where you like them, and where did my columns go? I thought I turned it on uniform at 3. There it is. So once you then you can kind of drag them around to where you like them. You're like, sweet, awesome. Then you can play around with this view and set up your own view, save as, share it with your team so everybody can kind of have their own views. And your views are unique to yourself. So if you move this column, your other team members don't see it. Everybody has their own profile. So do what you want. Try and break it. So as far as the grid, you hit the collapse all button, open it up, group it by one suggested workflows, estimator, then bid package, or estimator, then owner bid code, or you can flip these around to your heart's desire, to whatever makes sense to you. And then you could spin it to, okay, instead of all estimators, I want to look at it by everybody's bid package, so I could see the full thing, because you got to be mindful, you're the full blood, guts, and feathers. And so you're gonna be a cross-coding ninja after this. So let's stick with the curtain wall. So this curtain wall comes with Uniformat 3 bid package codes, but if you right-click it, this item, and you could change them too. You're like, well, this actually goes to, I'm going to say storefronts. You can just start word searching and hit storefront, and you'll recode it instantly, right? So that's how you can change things around if you duplicated it. And so these are going to be your main keys that before I go there, hang on, one thing at a time. So here's the metadata behind it when you grab it from the database. There's more than just those few columns. You can actually hit edit one selected line item, and you'll see it's uniformat, master format, and those are all the codes associated with when you drop it in. And uniformat's kind of cool, because if you change this to, like, I don't know, I'm going to do a gnarly one, like, you see how it rolls up, B20, it's just a cascading effect. But if you change the lowest level, it's all going to just automatically do it for you. So master format works the same way. It's a cool little trick that they have. So other things you'll be doing is, if you get a line item that's, like, let's say there's a bunch of curtain walls that are the same type, you can quickly just duplicate this line item and do it a bunch of times. Trey, you need a button up here that says duplicate this 5 times, but here I go with product suggestions on a intro class. Bad me. And then you can just type 1, type 2, type 3, and you can go manually do the quantity, 145,000 wherever you measured it up, or whatever it ends up being. But you can also tie this back to the area sheet, which is your kind of overall check. I would highly suggest doing the perimeter floor to floor height, and then it'll automatically tell you what's your gross facade without accounting for turns and different types of material, but it gives you your gross facade check. So your curtain wall should be close to your gross facade, right? If it's all glass, for example. And I could get into the more advanced things, which, if we had this filled out, let's just do a perimeter of floor to floor 10. So you can start linking formulas to this sheet, like I mentioned in the beginning, which this is a heavily used thing in Ediphi. And one of the reasons why we went to this tool, because we can do formulas in these columns. And I'm going to go through the heavily used formula features. So you type equals, enter, or you can do the right-click menu, say right-click, edit quantity formula. It's the second one down. And then this brings up this box. You're like, what is this box? This is a weird way to do a formula. You're like, I'm used to Excel. Give me Excel. I know. But once you get used to it, you're like, dang, this is kind of cool. So if we want to link to our area sheet, well, I'm going to hit the area sheet, and I'm going to ask, well, what floors do I want to link it to? In this case, I'm just going to say all of them. If you select nothing, you get all of them. And then you can pick from any of the columns on that area sheet. So like gross facade, for example. So that's the gross facade. And then if I change it on the area sheet, it will change here. Sweet. So That's one formula. Another one that we use heavily is a metric. Like let's say we'd want to do this, but at times it's about, I don't know, maybe the facade's only 40% of the total gross skin. So I'm just gonna making something up here. You'd want to add this little formula box. You can hit the times key on your keyboard, and you can move these boxes around too, but you can make a bunch of them as well. But in this case, I want to a number is a number, right? A metric is a number with words behind it. It's one of the things Excel can't do. When you look at people's Excel formula, you're like, what does this number mean? That's what a metric is. You just get words behind it. So let's say it's 0.40 percent class. So it's taking the total skin times 40%, right? And there's your quantity, and you can decide to round it or not. And the cool thing about metrics is you can expose them with this little widget here. You can click that button, and now you can change them. So you can imagine doing like, you could use this to your heart's desire for your people to communicate what the scope is. But if you're just quantifying it, cool, just type in the quantity. And that's another thing that's kind of all over Ediphi, is the ability to override this thing. So this thing means it's a formula. So you can click in it, see what it is, cool. But you can also say, well, I just did a quantity takeoff of that. I don't really care about the number. You just type in whatever you want. And do I have num locks on? Here we go. And it's probably hard to see, but that it turned gray. That means I just overwrote it. And you could do that, go ahead. But then to clear it, you just hit delete and it'll reset back. You can also copy formulas, Control-C, Control-V, copy cells, fill down. You know, if you want to change this unit price to something else, you grab from the database, you're like, no, I'm going to price this a different thing. You could change it to whatever you want. It's like, it's Excel. You get Control-Z to undo. You can also, like, I don't know if we're doing bids, but if we were getting bids, here's my glass bid. It came in at 500,000. You just override it, and it'll back spread back that way. Same thing with the line items underneath it. You could say, oh, well, it's worth that. It'll back calculate the unit price. It's just how it's set up. Okay. So that's like the fundamental workflows of adding line items and all that. I did, since this is a hotel, I know I'm kind of probably going fast here, but before I do that, I should probably talk about these other tabs. So line items is just a flat list. This is great for doing massive edits really quickly. Like if I want to see who modified it last, this is one of my favorite columns to check out. Who modified it last, what happened. You can sort it by that. You can go to the filters and filter it just like Excel. You have all the column headers that you can filter by person or modified by notes. It's Excel people like really gravitate towards this screen too. And you can turn on your columns and turn them off, whatever columns you want. And it'll remember it next time you come in. So it's kind of cool. And one of the things that I use a lot is the search feature here. So schedule of values, that's just what it is. Whatever you have it grouped by, it's whatever, it'll just be like, it's like a collapse view. I don't really go to it that much. Let's run like a final review. Markups are just that. Definitely read the RFP for markups requirements, and you can do all the same things you'd expect. If you right click, do I want to add a markup above, make a markup. Formulas work very similar to what we just went over. So if I click the formula box, the default is cost of trades, which is the cost of work, plus all above markups. So it's going to take the general liability, general condition, general requirements, and that's just the markups, and then take it times whatever percentage you put on the outset. And you're in full control of this. You're like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do the circular calc to do like fee on fee calculations. You do that calc there. Just a lot of flexibility here with markups. And that's really it with markups. That without getting too much into the weeds, really that's all there is. Unless Trey, anything comes to mind that's worth hitting on.
I don't think so. I'm actually over here pecking away on my keyboard on some of these questions to help.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
I'll,
I'm trying to answer
yeah,
these. And folks,
we got about 18. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. You're good,
I was
Tom.
gonna say we got about 18 minutes left. So if anybody has any Edify like specific questions on how to navigate, how to do any of the technical things in Edify, this is your chance to ask them. This is a great opportunity. We got the kind of winding down here the last 15, 18 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm going to go open the bid form. There's a great video on that. I went through that. You'll pick that up once you watch it. But if anyone wants to like unmute and ask a question, or because the other thing I'll say is the units are phenomenal. I should touch on that very quickly. So I did do a detailed video of units. They're a great way to, estimate all the widgets inside a hotel room. You're gonna have to figure out how many rooms that the thing has, and definitely watch that advanced unit video. If you guys, you don't have to do it. You could kind of count things individually and go to town, but the units is where the power's at. And I'm also going to do another one on rooms. Rooms are kind of a similar workflow than units. So that's getting into the advanced world. You can just quantify all the widgets as needed and enter manually, kind of like the Excel days, which totally works too. But anybody feeling brave to ask a question? So systems we're not going to use. That's way advanced.
Yeah, I think some of these questions are good. It's more out of curiosity and like testing it and pulling things in and clicking buttons and finding maybe more curious questions. But to your point, systems is probably going to be more advanced. I would focus on learning the business of construction in terms of building the estimate and understand what goes in it, to then again present those numbers to the judges at the end of the competition. So, but yeah, there's some more advanced things here. We haven't turned them off, candidly, because we can't just turn some of these things off, but they're there to add value as you see repetition and things like that.
Yeah, one of the things I would suggest doing is I like that question, what not to do. I would periodically hit this version button, create a version. Hey, saving in case somebody totally blows it up. I'm not going to get into versions and how that all works, but at least you have a snapshot to go back where it was, because you're always in the live version. It's always saving the moment you do stuff. It's just you're always current. There's no save button. You can hit the Control Z button for some things. If you right click, delete a line item, it's gone. Like if somebody deletes everything, well, it's gone. Sorry, unless you happen to save a version. So you do have to trust your team members. This is a thing I always forget to show people about. It's hit this in storefronts. If I'm whatever grouping I'm at, I can quickly go, oh crap, I know there's more stuff on storefronts I need. Instead of going to the back there, you can just hit this little plus button, and it's kind of a quick, sliding glass doors. Yep, I need those. Sweet. Let me add it, change the name, go to town. And
Kyle, sorry. It's Haley. To all the teams, I just want you guys to also realize, the committee and the judges are obviously taking into account that this is a new software. We're very excited about having Edify as a partner, but we are very realistic. There are going to be, adjustments, learning how to use the software. So please don't think that we are not taking that into account. Okay. We are here to support. We just want you guys to also be a little proactive and really try to play with the software, get to know it, find some cool things about it. But please know we are taking all of this into consideration. Okay.
Yep, and that brings up a good point. The help menu. You can hit this little question box up here on the top, and this little AI guy shows up. You can ask questions on there. It's kind of fun. You can also go to this Ediphi's Help Center for a ton of stuff in there. It's yelling at me. So you can also go to, what is it, Trey?
Edify.com.
Help. Edify.com. This is how I learned the thing. I literally went in here and read every one that was in here a year and a half ago. You can go to estimates and advanced setups, back calc. There's a lot of viewing in here. There's not a lot of videos that I've found. There are videos kind of baked into this thing, but the ones that I've made are probably your best resource right now. This thing does get updated frequently too. When you come in the software, you're like, oh, there's another update. Like, whoa! It's just, I get excited when I see that. Some people are like, oh, what? I gotta learn this. Another thing I feel like we should set up. I don't know. I'll offer to send this out, but I share this with our folks internally. This is Ediphi's new project checklist, create an estimate, use groups, area sheets, add line items. All these things are hyperlinked to their support thing. So if you click that, it'll take you to help.edify.com and open it up. How do I add line items? We talk about that. Well, a lot of this stuff is like intuitive. Like these tech native folks, they pick stuff up like whoa, you guys are way quicker than I thought you would. And I that's the advice I can offer with help. Besides maybe like, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts with help, Trey?
No. I mean, if you can't find what you're looking for, reach out and we'll try and support however we can. Yeah. So just if you can't find what you need, we'll make sure you get the answer you need.
And multiple users. I did go poke around at people's projects. People are exploring. They're adding lineups. They're playing with it. I mean, it's great to see. I know you guys are just diving into the documents. There's a lot of learning that has to happen there, and to get your estimates to quantify stuff. Go through the scope. But I feel like this add line items button. This is like 3,000 line items of widgets. You go through this, pick the items you need, really assign your people. Like that workflow is awesome. And then also really watch that unit video. That's going to help you a lot understand that. And with that, so I can go into report, the bid form piece, the last section, unless anybody else has any other good comments or thoughts. But practice estimates. If like we used to have a workflow where we all make separate estimates and do our own work in their own file. Like I would highly don't do that. I'll go in the same file. You can export stuff to other estimates. You can hit export and send it to your estimate, but you can't send the formula. There's a lot of disadvantages of doing that. What are the tips can I offer? Columns are your friends. Play with these views. They just dropped this feature like last week. I haven't even got to play with this yet. I'm excited to mess with the views because it needed a lot of love.
Yeah, you can with the save views, you can actually group it how you want and show whatever columns you want, and then you can just save a view without having to click into that ellipse on the right side and call it whatever. And
oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
The set as project default is probably ideal. I would recommend checking that because you're all working in the same estimate. So that way, when everyone goes into it, they're looking at the same
thing. And now when you save it, it'll be team view. It'll be a drop down. Everything will look similar.
Yeah, and if y'all are handling different scopes, you could create your own views for scopes and things too if you wanted to work in those views and then go back to the main view. So you have options there.
let's see, is there a new project checklist? Yeah, we'll send that out via Building Connected, this new project checklist, because it's kind of nice to have that. Oh man, I love that question. You're talking my language. If imports, this is getting into the weeds, but since you guys are probably tech savvy, if you're going to do OST takeoff or Bluebeam takeoff or whatever, right, you got to get it into an Excel file. And you can, downside of that is you got to kind of price it. So you can hit import CSV. We're not going to be providing OST files. There is a way to do that, but I would just suggest CSVs at this point. So you hit the CSV button, download sample file. I'm just going to give you the Cliff version. And all you have to know is the column header names. So if I know that name, Ediphi accepts name, I could just do one in 30 seconds. So you can literally import anything you want, which is awesome. You know, it's UOM. You just have to know the column headers, save this as a CSV, drag and drop it in, mission accomplished. I love doing things on the fly. So let me just change that to DDD and each, for example. So I just grabbed a couple of them. You can drag and drop that file in. So then they go in. We got 3 line items, DDD each. And if I would have put in the quantity, I would have brought the quantity. Then you've got to reassign the use groups. I got to cross code it to all my widgets. It's almost like pick your poison, blessed data entry, front end or the back end. You could do either, like any school.
Yeah, can I add some just some color around this too that I think might be helpful, Kyle? The area sheet, the things that you're filling in to start your project, Kyle showed you all the formulas, the quantities. You can use that information to create formulas and make it dynamic so that, like, if something were to change, you can update the area sheet and then it changes in the estimate. By bringing in quantities, you're saying I have a static quantity times a unit cost, which that's fine. You can do it that way, but it loses a dynamic nature. So conceptually, oftentimes we're like, look, we know that we have 100 lines and they're roughly based off of these variables. We can make a dynamic conceptual estimate. And at some point we shift to, now we're doing quantity takeoff. I'm not saying don't do a quantity takeoff. I'm saying my suggestion would be to explore the functionality in Ediphi and say, I might want to be dynamic with some of this, and I might want to be static with some of the other things around quantities. Like when I take off my doors or pick the thing, right? So I would just make sure that you all kind of explore all of it, because reality is, from conceptual all the way through detailed cost estimating, that's the exercise. This is, at some point you go to more finite quantities, but it's back here, you're making assumptions or qualifying based off of historical costs or very high level information. So I would just encourage that.
Yeah, and to Trey's point, like features, you can think of this as like you can link it to Excel. I'm going to call it whatever I want to call it, add as many features as you want. Anything you plug here, you could just reference in a formula. So you just go to the area sheet, and then you can pick the feature. There's the roof and patio, and it pulls that quantity if you pick the right column. So 555, you change it from there, you get it. And okay, the importing versions, save versions as you go. Any way to do it? Assemblies. So assemblies, yeah. So assemblies, when you hit add line items, and I just dropped this video last night with assemblies, so definitely check that out. Assemblies they're all under the concrete assemblies. Only assemblies in here are concrete, so definitely check out that video. I'm not going to go through that right now. So you can see this is an assembly. Spread footings. I think there's piers on this thing. Maybe there's mat foundations. So that's how you can use those. You can also make an assembly too, as well. That's getting more into advanced. Make an assembly. Good question though.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in the right click. We have assemblies in concrete because that's probably the most self-performed item that we come across. But if there's other things you want to use as assemblies, you can certainly right click and create assemblies and add more detail under the hood.
And I'm not going to show this, but anybody can. This is the bid form piece. We'll watch that video. Basically, any Excel file you open, you hit the Get Ediphi Data button. It links it to that estimate and basically refreshes it once you get it linked up. It's phenomenal. This is saving us so much time with owner bid forms at our company. So I'm excited that you guys actually get to see it and use it for yourselves.
Harrison asked more videos coming on the YouTube channel. Kyle, I know this is you're posting these videos. Are you putting more on here on that channel?
I'm only going to add one more with the rooms, but definitely open to other suggestions. Like maybe we want to do a tips and tricks for them to talk about views and like as we go into their estimates, what are they doing? What are they missing?
Harrison, if there's specific questions, again, reach out to support, or if we can't get that answered through them, I'm happy to jump in and help resolve some of that too. Just let us know.
Yeah, but any final questions? We got a 10 out of 10. I can't believe we got a 10 out of 10. Yeah. So I guess I'm just awesome that you guys get to experience what we're using too. So we're learning it with you. So awesome. Well, guys, look for more videos, and I'll send out this quick start setup piece. But other than that, enjoy the Friday. Can't wait till Monday. So
Thanks so much, Kyle, and thank you, Trey. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks.
Sweet.
Have a good one.